Hey everyone. So, back in about 2008, I would guess, it could be 2009, it's been about 8 years, maybe 9. I had been studying from all the books I'd been studying, a lot of the seminars I'd been studying. I wanted to come up with a complete list of all the big categories and the subcategories of what I thought was important for like a well-balanced life. Work-life balance, if you want to call it that. Education, life balance. And I studied this a lot for a lot of years, and I played devil's advocate in my mind. And what I basically came up with, and it's pretty similar to other people like Tony Robbins. I've talked to my friend Brad. He's very similar to this. He's about 4 of the 5. He names one of them a little bit differently. But what I basically came up with was spirituality, mindset, health, relationship, and financial. And there's a part of me, and I've had that in the back of my mind for about 8 or 9 years. I've tested that against stuff I see in life to see if things are more important than that framework-wise as 5 pillars. I have not found them to be more important. There's some things that are like subsets of that. But those seem to be the 5 that like are really important. So they might go by a little bit different name. I kind of went back and forth whether I think they're in that order, or if the order even matters. And debated with myself a little bit if a couple of them could be changed around over the years, but I'm not too worried about the order they're in. It's just more about like fine-tuning all of them. And I was thinking about it more a couple hours ago, and what's the highest level thing learned, or some of the best notes I've learned for each one of those pillars to give you that balance every day. Some of the best tricks I've learned in each of those categories. And for spirituality, it's really getting the present moment. It's the law of attraction. It's energy. I would study Abraham Hicks. What you're really doing with all of those things, I know you've heard of most of those things, meditation, Brad and I talk about that. What you're really doing, in my opinion, is what Abraham Hicks talks about is your quieting the mind. Other spiritual teachers talk about this too, but she gets more specific in my mind. But you're quieting the mind, and you by quieting the mind, you slow down the momentum of negative thought. That's very subconscious, very low. There's a lot of things going on in the world, a lot of hurricanes right now and fires everywhere, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the economy, and it's working in the back of our mind, and we're addicted to technology, and our world's moving very fast. It's disruptive, it's innovative. So it's very important to remove that subconscious resistance. So quieting your mind, getting away from technology devices, going out for a walk, some of that kind of stuff. A lot of these overlap, by the way, too. So by quieting the mind, you're lessening the resistance, and you're working on alignment, and you're working on point of attraction. You're visualizing things, right? And so I recommend Abraham Hicks. If you haven't listened to Abraham Hicks, it's Esther Hicks, Abraham-Hicks. I can explain that more in another one. Mindset's another one. You want to get that energy lined up first, so that the action on the mindset, it might be taking action in life, meeting with somebody, it might be watching some high-level Eric Thomas or Tony Robbins or Gary Vaynerchuk videos, Grant Cardone videos. You got to be in the right mindset for that, though. You got to be receptive. You can't be listening to it and then resisting what they're telling you and going, wow, that doesn't really work for me. Like, I don't understand how he's making money doing it. You can't be thinking those kind of thoughts. You need to get in the right mindset first. So maybe you need to take a walk. Maybe you need to quiet your mind, get some extra sleep, remove that resistance. So you clear your mind. I think it's like what Bruce Lee says, be like water, right? Be still like water. And then there's also this idea of let it go and let it grow. Like, let it go because something else wants to grow in its place. It's the idea of you're letting a breath go and taking another breath in. It's kind of the simplicity of the universe. So that's your mindset. You want to get your mindset lined up after the energy's lined up. The health is going to be anything from taking a walk, clearing your mind. It could be the food that you're eating. The food definitely has different energy. I got to do a much better job myself on it. But when you're eating living food, previously living food like vegetables and stuff, you're going to be a different frequency than if you're eating fast food and stuff like that. And not only that, like fast food will put you in a different frequency, and it'll make you tune in to more of the negative type stuff. So I don't know if people know that's actually happening. So you'll have this compounding energy if you stick with the living foods, the healthier foods. So the other one is relationships, and then financial. I find that those two tie together pretty strongly, more than ever. And I personally think it works in any kind of field related to investing or real estate, planning for the future, finances, any of that kind of stuff. I think that works well for long-term relationships and financing and all that kind of stuff. So, trying to think. What I would say with relationships is there's a couple different things going on. There's a generation that I find people that are over 45, like it works better almost keeping in touch with them every few months in person, or every 6 months or every year. Keep in touch with them in person, meet them for 2-3 hours. And that's been working really well. They just grew up where technology came in at a later time. People under 30, it seems like it's more about, they do want to have fun and experiences, but there's a lot of it, maybe 50% of it's happening online on social media sites. So that's something to keep in mind too. That's how you're building the relationships. What I'm trying to do also is, as people are learning some of these concepts, they haven't read all the books like the Rich Dad Poor Dad and Cash Flow Quadrant, and there's still a way to build relationships by doing these videos. You can still get to know people, right? So someday when they meet me, they come up to me like, I've been watching videos for a long time, and then it's kind of like we're up to speed, right? I've then got to get up to speed with them, and they're free to comment below the videos and all that stuff, and we can talk, but not everyone does that nowadays, right? So you've got to balance the relationships with the long videos, the online versus the offline, the in-person relationships versus the little comments here and there when things happen in their lives. And then the financing part of it, in my opinion, you get more into like the real estate and investing, you get into copywriting. I was having this conversation earlier. The offline stuff, a lot of it is about real estate investing for me. The online stuff is still the narrative in the real estate investing, but I've got to use more of the copywriting skills that I've learned to keep people's attention. Because offline, people are more than happy to meet for 2 to 6 hours. Online, there's just so much competition where you're just competing for everyone's attention, where you get 1 minute here and 2 minutes there and all that. So you got to get better at the copywriting part of it and the psychology part of it. So that's my advice today on the 5 pillars. To recap, you can go back and watch this again, but spirituality, mindset, health, relationship, and financial. Keep in mind they overlap with each other in many different ways. Just remember that and stick to it, and catch yourself throughout the day and say, am I sticking to this compass of these 5 pillars? Thanks guys, we'll catch you later.